gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. From there it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you've been brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold.
I'll just jump right into it. As I've gone alone in there, I don't want to focus on this one too much because I believe that the first line encompasses kind of the whole poem, and I think it would be better to talk about that line towards the blaze and Home of Brown, and kind of ties the whole thing in together. So we'll hold off on talking about that. And with my treasures bold. Okay. So Forrest Fenn solve stanza 1 basically narrows down the search for where warm waters halt. So so if you can picture with my treasures bold, so let's see, we got New Mexico, and then we got Colorado, Wyoming, and then we have Montana. Okay, now we have all the states up. So with my treasures bold, I just want to focus on Montana. If you don't think the treasures in Montana, you're probably not going to like the rest of this video. But just keep an open mind. If you don't have an open mind, you're not going to enjoy the video. And with my treasures bold, so the main words there obviously being treasures bold. Alright, so Montana, everybody knows this is treasure state. Treasure state, a really good handwriting. But did you realize that there's a second slogan? Big skies. Think about the term big and bold. With my treasures bold, big and bold, big skies. It's referring to the slogans of the state. So that's what that whole line is referring to. Now we can exclude that, and that. All right, so I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that, why would he say with my treasures bold? Why wouldn't he say big treasures? Well, if he said big treasures, that would be way too much of a giveaway, and everybody would be on board with Montana first day. But if he says treasures bold, he's kind of disguising it in a way that it might take somebody a while to figure out that he's actually talking about Montana there. So, all right, so next line. So as I've gone on there with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where. So now we have Montana. I can keep my secret where. So he's basically saying I can keep my secret anywhere in Montana. And hint of riches new and old. So I can keep my secret anywhere besides this next clue. So the next clue is going to be where we start. Now, he's saying I can keep my secret where? Anywhere besides the location that we start, which is going to be a national park. So it's basically saying we're going to start at a national park. And hint of riches new and old. So hint of riches new and old is a national park. We're going to start there, but he's saying that the treasure is not located in the national park. So that's two separate places, two separate things. So I can keep my secret where everywhere else and hint of riches new and old. National Park is where we start. Alright, since we didn't go into too much about the first sentence, I'm going to go into the first clue a little bit. So I've already talked about in my previous videos of why I think it's in Montana. Obviously, we have the dust cover of the book. We have all the states there, and then we have Montana at the top. So if you believe that, like I do, that this is referring to Montana, if you look at that picture of the coins, what coin stands out to you the most? It's going to be the shiny one, the one on top. And if you look at a picture of Montana and compare it to the location of that shiny coin to the rest of it, it comes out to only one place where a national park could be, and that's Glacier National Park. It was a stressful morning full of pressure stalls, emergency landings, and near runway incursions, but somehow, by the grace of God, we made it to Salt Lake City.
Part is down there off of Yellow Bay, and it's about 385 feet deep.
Here we are in the beautiful Glacier National Park. We're gonna find it today. I think it's right there. Highline Trail. Video doesn't do it justice. It doesn't suck, that's for sure. Don't worry about that, Dad. That's just a log holding up the trail. Still out here on the Highline Trail. let's go down in the city.
My new book, Too Far to Walk. In my preface, I explain where I got the title of the book.
How many people have told you they've discovered the unintended clue in Too Far to Walk, and how many were right?
Well, I have not anybody tell me the answer to that clue.
Okay.
If you read my preface, it doesn't take a genius to figure out, I think, what they're talking about. But
So I was yelling at people to run down the beach or do whatever they could to escape this situation. I heard someone running down the beach, and I didn't know that Michelle had not gone right away until she screamed that she was being attacked. She screamed, "He's got my arm." And this was, I surmised, and I don't know whether it was true or not, but that she crawled down to the bottom of her sleeping bag for protection. Bear got into the sleeping bag and pulled her out and did it by her arm. And then the other thing that she screamed was, "Oh my God, I'm dead," which was bone chilling, obviously, and that was it.
Topic number 4. The end is ever drawing nigh and there'll be no paddle up your creek. Everybody always talks about nigh, the old English term is left, but I wanted to focus more on the end is ever drawing nigh part, which means, in my mind, ever drawing is farther away than the rest of the clues. So it's farther away and to the left. No paddle up your creek. I think that he's actually talking about a creek there, because that's the only really logical thing that comes to mind, and it means upstream. So from the previous clue to the next clue, you're going upstream up a creek, whether that be a lake body that empties into a creek and is going upstream. That would be my take on it. And the stream in this situation would have to be rocky or impassable in some way to fit that clue, if that makes sense. So in summation, follow the creek upstream and go to the left.
Hungry Horse Dam that's holding back the Hungry Horse Reservoir that we are camping on currently. It's pretty awesome. It's the third of the large curved dams. We've seen all three of them now. The first was the Buffalo Bill Reservoir, Buffalo Bill Dam, and the second, of course, was Hoover. Not of course, it was Hoover. And the third is this one. Giant circle right there is called a glory hole, and its purpose is that if this thing ever filled up and they couldn't control the water by letting it through the turbines or through the spillways, it would fill up, pour into that, and rage out to the other side. And it's really an end of the world kind of thing. It's not intended to be used. So this is a hydroelectric dam. It produces over 400 megawatts, and because of that, the surrounding areas have extremely cheap energy. They're about 6 cents per kilowatt hour around here.
When the screen pans out, you'll be able to see the dam, the Y fork, and the firefighter lookout tower. At the Y fork over here, as in why is it that I must go?
Why are we here?
All right, second topic. Where to find the blaze and where it cannot be. Okay. It cannot be in a canyon anywhere because the next clue says look quickly down your quest to cease. All right, quickly. If you're looking quickly down at the bottom of a canyon, you're probably going to be looking at your feet or about 2 feet in front of you. So that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why would that clue even be there? Look quickly down because you're already there. Okay. So it has to be some kind of elevated position, such as a side of a mountain, scenic overlook, something like that, to where you can get some distance and see a ways. All right. Let's see. I also believe that the blaze can be seen from Google Earth. That would give a level playing field to everybody, no matter where they lived. That's just my opinion, obviously. All right, so another kind of cool thing about the blaze and the sentences after that. So the blaze has to be a fixed position. And then the next part says, look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze. All right, look quickly down. That's a distance. It's the distance from the point. Marvel gaze, that's the direction. That's the direction you want to look to find the area of the treasure chest. All right, so quickly down, that is in relationship to how far you can see from the blaze. If you can see 50 miles, look quickly down could mean, anywhere from 10 feet to 10 miles. I wouldn't put it any farther than that, obviously, but look quickly down your quest to see. So you're not looking 40 miles from where you can see. You're looking close to where you can see. Tarry scant with marvel gaze, but you have to look in the direction of that clue. Does that make sense? So it's fixed position, and then distance and direction. That's what those clues mean. When you get to this point, you can follow the dam to the Y to Fire Island, and follow Fire Creek up all the way to Firefighter Lookout Tower.
Here at the firefighter lookout tower at the trailhead. There's the beautiful but cloud-covered Mount Grant and Great Northern Mountain behind me. Alright, guess where we are? We're at the Blaze. We're at the Blaze. We have made it. On top of the mountain, top of the world. Guess what's right behind me? We're there.
Understood. All right, well, hope to see you tomorrow. You will.
I'm gonna get a short video.
No worries.
No mind.
I don't charge. It's really beautiful over there, and probably some mountain goats will follow you up. Yeah. And what?
Alright, you guys. Terry scan with marble gaze. What does it mean? So in a previous video I talked about this. I didn't go very far in depth with it, and a lot of people had questions or didn't think it to be true at all, which is understandable, not knowing all the facts. So I thought I'd explain it a little bit better. So a foreword of this video. I think the only reason that Forrest would put those two words together in the poem, Terry Scant, was that he needed it for his riddle. Nobody would naturally put those two words together. So there would be a lot of other ways that he could have went around achieving the same meaning, such as do not stand in marvel gaze, or tarry for scant while to gaze. There's a lot of other ways that he could have said that, but the fact that he said tarry scant with marvel gaze is really important, and I'll kind of explain to you why. There is a man named Andy Biggs. He put out a book titled Gold and More, or something like that. It had terrible reviews. It's on Amazon for $10. I didn't read it, but he is very important in this as far as me being able to find out what Terry Scant means. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a video that Forrest is actually talking about this individual right now.
Eventually, if they're really smart, to the treasure. Now, I got this email a couple weeks ago that I forwarded to you from a gentleman by the name of Andy Briggs out of the United Kingdom, who is very well known as an author, does science fiction and comic books, and creates all these characters. He's well known. He's not, I don't think, your average crackpot that comes over to your house knocking on your door in the middle of the night asking you for, a 10th clue. He's well known, but he sent me this email saying he had come up with the code word that if you overlay it on all of your poems and everything, that he said could lead somebody, but he couldn't come up with that final piece, and so he wanted to open source it, make it available to everybody. You're familiar with this guy, right?
Yes, I am, and his name must be added to those who have presumed to know the clues in the poem.
So he's one of many?
He's one of many, yes.
Right. So I sent you this email.
But he's a pretty bright guy. He's got a lot of it figured out, maybe.
Okay. So he's not completely cuckoo. Did from what you can tell, has he found, is there well, I'm not going to ask you because you won't tell me, if there's some kind of code word that could unravel this whole thing. You won't tell me.
Well, there are so many people out there that know a little bit about it, but not a lot. But there are a few getting close.
Really? From what you guys can tell, Dale, I mentioned you guys get 11,000 hits a day.
So this guy, Andy Briggs, also known as the White Horse, or I'm sorry, the White Knight, he has a lot of it figured out according to Forrest Fenn, maybe. So Forrest Fenn there kind of backtracks, say, oh, I don't want to say too much. But the rest of his solve, in my opinion, is kind of crap. If you look at it, it's a cipher, or it's to do with something that's really of a stretch of the imagination. But that one part right there, Terry Scant with Marble Gaze, he came up with that to realize that Terry Scant actually means Cary Grant. And I'll explain to you his thought process and some things that I've added to his idea as well. So one thing that I noticed when I just Googled Terry and then Scant is that there's a limited amount of rhymes that go along with that. So the word Terry, I'll just list them off. There's berry, cherry, fairy, merry, scary, hairy, glary, perry, berry, prairie, Larry, Jerry, Sherry, airy, and carry. So I want you to remember airy and carry there. But so there's 15 common rhymes for Terry. And for Carrie, there's only 6. Not Carrie, but Scant. So there's cant, rant, plant, ant, chant, and grant. So there's 6 of them. The only thing besides Cary Grant that I could put together there that made any sense was Barry Plant. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So limited amount of rhymes. There's not a whole lot of rhymes to those 2 words. So that's just something to consider. Cary Grant is referenced in Catcher in the Rye multiple times. A book Forrest mentions in his videos, and he also says that it was kind of what got him going as far as writing and things like that. So it was very important to him. Cary Grant is mentioned in the foreword to Forrest Fenn's book, $17 a square inch. And I'll show that to you now. $17 a square inch, personal tribute to Eric Sloan. Alright. And you can pause it and read all this if you want, but I just want to point out one thing. After being seated at a table for 12, the man on my left started pointing out celebrities around the room. David Brinkley, Cary Grant, and Andy Warhol. It went on and on. I was thrilled to see such famous people and asked my guide if he was also in the arts. He said he was, and we introduced ourselves. His name was Eric Sloan. So right there, forward, only 1 page, and then picture and everything. So keep that in mind. Scrapbook 187. Go down. When I called Pony and she made an appointment for the next afternoon, she wanted me to meet Cary Grant. I couldn't have been more thrilled because To Catch a Thief was one of my favorite movies. He goes on and talks about when they entered my office, introductions were made and I shook hands with the Daubiniere, Mr. Grant. We talked for several minutes and then Pony turned around. So some searchers know that Forrest Fenn is a big fan of comic books. So that kind of sparks the question, does Marvel Gaze mean he's talking about a look, or does it mean he's talking about a comic book, since, Marvel Gaze, Marvel Comics. So I tend to believe he's talking about comic books. Andy Briggs was the one that originally brought this up. And then this book, which Cary Grant was featured in, the only time he's ever featured in a Marvel comic book, he unmasks himself after Catwoman had a dream and says, "No more secrets between us." And she goes, "Whoa, you're Cary Grant." If you can read that right there. So that's kind of the thing that initially took me back, like, whoa, that's a big coincidence right there. And he's also stated before that children may have an advantage, but don't ask me to explain that. And so I don't think that's a coincidence at all. So those are some of the biggest things. If you look up the author's name of Flywater, his last name is Grant. That could be a coincidence, but I choose to believe it's not. And then Forrest mentioned Clark Gable in his video, and I'll go ahead and play that for you now.
Vamp on a living thing?
You know, maybe before we start asking some questions about the treasure, since it is a book launch, because that's why we're all here. Anybody have any questions about the book or the process or the stories or the writing?
So the purpose in writing the book, was it that you wanted to share more clues with the folks that are searching, or was there some background purpose related to the chase in writing the book? Did you feel like you needed to put more clues out there?
You know, this is my third memoir, and I truly believe that I could write another 50. But I'm sure that idiosyncrasy of my nature is not stuck on me. Everybody in this crowd could do the same thing. I remember years ago, my daughters are here tonight. They're in their mid-50s, but
no,
must have been about
late 30s.
It must have been 30 years ago we were talking, and I found out that they didn't know who Clark Gable was. How many in this crowd do not know who Clark Gable was? And I was appalled and because when I was a kid, Clark Gable was the biggest thing in Hollywood. I mean, Gone with the Wind and on the movies. So I told myself, I don't like this. And so I grabbed a yellow pad and I started writing my first memoir. Actually, I started writing an autobiography because I wanted my kids to know who I was and who my parents were and who my grandparents were. And I'd never written before, really. So I grabbed a yellow pad and a pencil and I started talking about my grandmother telling me when she was a little kid, the cow was in the Comanches in Fort Worth running through her barnyard trying to catch chickens. And I talked about my parents making their own soap, and my dad made charcoal, and we had our own chickens. And we didn't have meat except on Friday if I could kill 5 meadowlarks with my...
So just to rehash that video, that was the very first question that he answered, and it sounded like he had the answer to that question staged right off the bat. And that's what kind of took me back, and it didn't even go along with the question hardly. So Clark Gable was a contemporary of Cary Grant. They were both black and white actors. It was kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. They were kind of like right there, same time period, same kind of movies, everything. So why does he randomly bring that up? I'm thinking because of Cary Grant. Another fact, if you haven't thought about it yet, Clark Gable, Cary Grant have the exact same initials. So something to think about. I certainly don't think it's a coincidence. So the last thing I wanted to bring up was on page 44 of The Thrill of the Chase. Obviously there's no clues in The Thrill of the Chase, it's just hints. And I think this is the most solid hint that I've at least found in the book that is without question a hint. So they talk about Carl and Aerie on page 44. But what most don't know is that those names are misspelled. And I will show you why I believe they're misspelled right now. Alright, so here's how he spelled it on page 48. Carl with a C, Airy with one R. And these people are like his good friends, and he talks about them in other pieces of literature, so he knows how to spell their name. Don't let that fool you at all. So Carl, how does he normally spell it? K-A-R-L. Airy, how does it normally spell that name? A-R-R-I-E. Now, this is where I bring it full circle. So at the beginning I said what were one of the 15 or 16 words that rhyme with Terry, and one of them was airy, okay? So we put Terry down. So what did he do to the word here? He took the first letter and he turned it into a C. So we take the first letter, we turned it into a C. Drop this. What did he do to the word here? He took out one of the R's. So we take out one of the R's, we drop this, drop this. Terry means carry.
These are my good friends from Idaho, John
Hello.
and Catherine.
Mark, nice to meet you.
Mark.
Nice to meet you, Catherine.
Nice to meet you.
You're from Florida?
Michigan.
I'm from Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Florida. So, what, pray tell, did you discover?
Well, we went all the way to the grove on the far side of that first big hill right there.
Oh my gosh.
And, no treasure down there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, who's the treasure hunter?
I am. Yeah. Well, I guess we both are now.
What book is this? Now, this is the book that said there's something here.
Yeah, it's called The Thrill of the Chase. So there's a almost 90-year-old man now. He buried a treasure out in the Rocky Mountains 10 years ago. And he left behind a poem that containing 9 clues. And if you can decipher the clues to the poem, you can find the chest or walk right to it. So.
Rocky Mountains, for sure.
Yep, between 10 miles north of Santa Fe in Canada, somewhere in there. So,
you know, he's really close, probably.
yeah.
No, this is very specific clues that he's done a lot of work and impressed me enough to get me on your place to help you.
So here is a poem, and there's 9 clues in those poems.
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
Heavy loads in water, high is Hungry Horse Dam. Heavy loads of electricity, high is the dam. So I thought that was neat. And then the blaze. This is the blaze. This is what I consider the blaze.
So have you asked him about what your?
I told him where I'm going, but whenever I do that, he never responds to me. So he doesn't like to give out clues.
Sure.
Well, peace and jet out of here.
Jet outside.
No, I'm
3 days in the back seat with his head down, rendering and editing videos. And by the time we got back, he had an hour-long movie.
Nice.
Of the whole trip.
Okay, are you ready to leave?
Yeah.
Yep.
I will open the door for you.
I may grab my empty one.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but if you can, if there's a big old Y sketched right there, I would be all about it. But I think we should go. Just stay with the plan. Deviate as little as possible. Big deer trail. The whole way. And then there's a treasure chest sitting there. Hey, bear! Yeah, those bear bells aren't doing shit. We have to go down. Where else are we gonna go? I wanna make sure I got the angle right. .26, which is about, yeah, I mean, it's just a different direction. So. Yeah, that's right. How many feet? It's showing. Yeah, that's right. .26. You don't look at that. That's the scale of 800. Eight-year-old man might have been able to do this. Hello from the side of Firefighter Mountain. It's pretty much vertical. Yep. It's not gonna show up in video. Getting me a little excited. Yep, 0.22 miles away. I am. We're making pretty damn good time. After we get to the part of the poll that says, why is it that I must go? There's a couple more lines that might not, that might be useful to put in your mind right now. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm weak. So those are the ones that I haven't really put a solid connection with yet. And at the end it goes, if you are brave and in the wood, I'll give you title to the gold. So, oh, it's not bad. 0.19 miles. I know. Tell me to stop and I'll stop. It has to be right up there. We're really close to it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, we found it. Let's go back. .15. Looks like somebody was buried here. Should I? All right.
out. It is kind of odd looking. Alright, how does this shit work? No, I know. Yeah, it's just 2 double A's or something. Watch this. Yeah. It's working. No metals, no precious metals. Over here. Nothing. Sergeant belt buckle. That's what I'm saying. I saw it from Google Earth, and then I looked at the 3D maps and I'm like, holy shit, that has to be a fucking view right on that Y growth. Yeah. Yeah. I've been waiting so long to do this. Come here and look at this one spot. There, we gotta turn to the right a little bit, looks like. Or starting to narrow in. 0.1 miles. $441 feet. I put the metal detector over that dirt patch and I hear beep. I'm gonna shit myself. Brave in the wood. Just the way this was laying, a campfire or something. Nothing. $307 feet. Right. It's a crow flies. This is it up here. 222. This is it.
What kind of bears do you have around here?
All kinds of them bears. They got black bears.
What are you doing on the ground?
Grizzly bears. Yogi bears.
You got Yogi bears?
They got the Yogi.
We'll get there. Eventually we'll get there. We always get there. Is that fucking not fun?
Well, we know how bear spray works now. Mark just bear sprayed himself. He had to try it. See if he liked it or not. He's gonna snort it. He didn't like it.
It hurts.
How bad's it hurt?
Stings.
Pneumonia or something.
Hey Siri, what stops pepper spray?
Oh, yeah, I'm afraid there might be some language in this. Yeah. He's
I'm not easily offended.
okay. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not up there.
He doesn't know what he says.
Mark washing a bear spray off his face and hands.
Get away. I'm doing something nice for you. You're fucking me. What's new? What? I can hear you pretty well.